My kettle is about to scream at me, so I'm just sort of waiting for it to be done. There it is. Hello again. This is actually my second time doing this. I made a New Year's resolution. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get back to podcasting and saying important things about the things that I like to do, like knitting. And I actually did make one podcast, and then I went back and rewatched it, and I made it at like 5 o'clock on a rainy day, and it was so dark you couldn't see anything. So I thought, yeah, that doesn't work, and decided we should do a second one instead. So that's what we're doing. So I still told myself I would do 26, one every 2 weeks. I'm just gonna have to do an extra one somewhere along the way of extra things for you guys. But this is podcast one, and we're going to pretend that it came out around the beginning of January instead of nowish. All right. So first off, I know it's been a very long time. I apologize. Again, this is a resolution, not an apology for all the things I didn't do in the past. So much has happened since our last podcast. I had a birthday. I turned 30. Can't believe I survived this long. We went to Japan. Sorry, I know that my glasses are catching the light from my window and I'm trying to use all natural lighting. Yes, we went back to Japan for the second time. There was a Typhoon Hagibis, and most everything we wanted to do got rained out, and everyone was concerned for our safety. But we had a great time. It was just wet. And in true Texas fashion, we found out there was going to be horrific weather, and instead of staying inside, we just went outside and looked for it on a mountain. So if you have any Texans in your life and they hear, sirens going off outside for bad weather, assume they are standing outside looking for the bad weather, because we all are. Japan was beautiful and amazing. We were there for 17 days. I visited 2 or 3 yarn shops. I watched a couple of craft demos, visited a billion temples, did a lot of shopping. I ate everything in sight, which I knew was gonna happen, so I was very excited. It's really great because when you've been somewhere one time and you loved it so much that all you can think about is okay, what am I gonna do the next time I go back? You sort of feel like you're coming back to an old friend, as opposed to oh, I am a complete outsider in this place where I feel weird. It really, going back to Japan, there were a lot of parts of it that just felt like coming home, or felt like coming to visit a friend. It was in complete disarray. I've never seen anything travel-wise quite that broken down. Japan is a remarkably efficient nation. Everywhere we've been, everything runs on time. And so to see the devastation caused by Hagibis and to see things not be working like clockwork was very, I don't know, it was very surreal. Not upsetting, not anything like that. It's we don't have to live in that. But it was very surreal to see this place that we've been before, that we had an almost pristine vision of and pristine experience with, and be there at a time when they're going through something, and to see just how well everyone handled it and how really everybody still remained polite and respectful, and everyone was patient with everyone else, even though they probably didn't feel like being patient with other people. And it's just, I drive on, 35 in Dallas when it's raining, and people lose their freaking minds. So I can't imagine how Texans would handle a typhoon. I don't think we would do as well as Japan did. So, kudos to Japan for keeping it together. Sadly, as I film this right now, Australia is on fire. So if you can or would like to, there are about 1 billion charities you can give money to: the firefighters, wildlife, families. If it exists, somebody probably needs help, because a lot of people have lost their homes. A lot of animals have been lost. So I would just recommend maybe taking a moment to think about everything you have and possibly give to those who might not have as much or anything right now. Sorry, not how I would normally start a podcast, but I thought it was important to talk about. Also, in the time that I was away, I went to East Texas Fiber Fest, And at East Texas Fiber Fest, I had a spectacular time. It was in Canton this year. It was in Lindale last year. Yes, but it was in Canton this year at an indoor hall, which was amazing because last year it was like 12 degrees. It was so cold, which is, you know, it wasn't really 12. It was probably like maybe freezing, but freezing in Texas is like 40 below for like a normal person because Texans don't handle bad weather, as I just mentioned with the I-35 in the rain. We don't do cold or wet or snow, like things shut down. We're not equipped to handle it. So being indoors this year was wonderful. We had a wonderful time. I went with my friend Tila and we visited Moon Tower Dyeworks and Leon Alexander right off the bat because those are our people. We love them. Anytime they're in town, we go and see them. We see them at DFW, we see them at East Texas, and usually we also see them for the North Texas Yarn Crawl if they're participating. I think they've done it 2 years now, I'm not sure. But yes, the East Texas Fiber Festival was an amazing time. I discovered Lazy Cat yarns. I didn't discover them, but I had never used anything by them, and I bought one of everything basically. And while I was at East Texas Fiber Festival, I wore this sweater. This is called the Untangling, or wait, nope. This is called the Arachne by Untangling Knots. I know I'm really close and you can't really see much, but it goes all the way around. And I got so many compliments on this sweater. It's really nice looking and the light is kind of washing it out. Boobs. The light is kind of washing it out so you can't really see everything. But it's this beautiful like dark purple with this lime, bright fluorescent lime green. Not fluorescent I guess, but very bright. And it just really pops against that purple. I had I had to have had 30 people come up and ask me what I was wearing. This is what marketing looks like. I am marketing on accident. But people told me it was beautiful. They said it looked amazing. They're like, oh, your color choices, the design, blah, blah, blah. And I've never made anything that was this popular in public with like random strangers. I get compliments on it at non-knit events, which I kind of expect because it is out there and different, a little bizarre for most people, especially when I'm wearing it not at Halloween. So I expect the lay person to be like, wow, cool sweater. I'm more impressed when somebody who can knit and makes beautiful sweaters is already like, wow, cool sweater. I'm like, wow, I'm so cool. Spoiler alert, I'm not. We had a great time at the East Texas Fiber Fest this year. I mean, we had a great time the first time that we went, but this time it was just like, it was bigger, it was in a better space, there were a lot more people, there were a lot more different kinds of people. There was literally kind of just like a little bit of everything. There was fiber and spinning and yarn for crochet, yarn for knitting, hooks, needles, bags. I got my face painted, it was awesome. They still had the classes, weaving, they had all kinds of weaving stuff. I don't know that much about weaving, so I'm just like boards and wefts, and I think some of those words apply to weaving. I'm not sure. I've never done it. But yeah, it was a much bigger event. It was much more involved. It was so much fun. We met so many fun new people that we had never met before. Made a lot of new friends. Bought a lot of things. As I mentioned, I purchased from Lazy Cat Yarn for the first time, and I just love so much of their stuff. They have a like true rainbow color palette that makes me so happy. Leading Man Fiber Arts was also there, and they're from the north, far north. So for me, I was like, oh hey, what are y'all doing down here? This is so far south. But yes, that's most everything what I've been up to. Not very interesting, I know. I've been gone so long I would have to go like into detail to tell you like what I've been doing. So I thought instead I would just skip to it, make this short, let y'all know what I've been up to, and then move on to the thing y'all actually care about, which is the projects. I have a work in working project, I suppose, work in progress that is technically a super secret test knit that I can't show you. I could show you the color of the yarn though, which will blow out because this is like a very rich color. Oh, that's not too bad. That's actually pretty true. But this is Cascade 220 and the color purple. All their colors are names, so I don't actually know what it's called. But yes, that's the yarn I'm using for the project, my super secret project that I didn't tell you about. So I can't show you that. But I do have... So, hold on. Let me gather my thoughts in English, please. I have had this sweater on a Make 9 since I saw it, basically. And I started it last year, and I blew through it. Like, I just like the body, all of it. And I was like, okay, I need to slow down and savor this project. So I'll knit the sleeves one at a time, because I always knit sleeves 2 at a time. These sleeves included. I have always knit sleeves 2 at a time. But I wanted to try my hand at knitting 1 at a time sleeves, like some kind of fool. I don't know what was wrong with me. I blasted through this first sleeve, right? Yeah, fine, totally, great. Big yarn, big needles, done. I got to the second sleeve and just mojo. Are you in here? Are you in here? No, you don't exist. No one has sleeve mojo, ever. That's not a thing that people have. So, I was getting to the point where I was like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna muscle through it. And then I got an email about a super secret test knit and I went squirrel and put this down and immediately started doing that. And now all I can think about is how guilty I feel that I have half a sleeve, maybe, left to do on the sweater, and then it's done and I weave in my ends. Don't judge me. We've all been there. But yes. Also, I made it like, I didn't realize it at the time, but I definitely made this a size or two too big. I got gauge and everything. I just think I overshot what size I would want or what size I would need. But this is, and well, I mean, it's going to be the Mountain Mist by Tin Can Knits. And it's, oh my gosh, it's like super messy right now. I apologize. But this color is called Hibiscus Tea from Essence of Autumn. And then these two colors are Noro, Crayon, I believe. Or, yeah, I think it's Crayon. It's their like silk kind of DK, because this is, it's like DK worsted, because this is like a DK worsted, I think it's actually a DK sweater. But I'm kind of flirting that line with a lot of my yarns. And so it goes from this like really beautiful pink to this really subtle gray to this blue, like bright blue color. And then the body is this color. So it's going to be beautiful and big. I just feel like, and see, sleeve 1 is done. I just feel like I've kind of overshot on the size, because look at that. Like, this is gonna be one of those big cozy sweaters. I normally wear my clothes a lot tighter. I know how that sounds. It's just how I am. It's how I've always worn everything, and I like to be able to feel the fabric. And this is sleeve 2. I'm a fool. That's all I can say. And so I was this far along, and then I was like, oh, test knit. Yeah, girl, you know it. I'm down. Let's go. This is literally all I have to do. 1 sleeve. One One sleeve. One. And the body is Drops Nepal, because I had a billion skeins of this, in the color 2923. And this is like real toothy. So this yarn right here, this pink yarn, was so like thick and so, it was unspun basically. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm not the best at this. But it was fragile, and if I pulled too hard on it, it would. So I'll have a few extra ends from that, and then everything else was spun, especially this one. But it's going to be a very beautiful, very hardy sweater. This is going to be a hard wearing, thick, toothy sweater, the kind you don't need when you live in Texas, because it never gets cold enough for it. So by the time I finish this sweater, I'll wear it next year. And we're done with that. So that's all of the works in progress. Now I just need to show you some finished objects. And I'm gonna start with the one, actually, let me start with the one I've been talking about the longest, which is actually super embarrassing. If you've watched any of my really, really early podcasts, you might know that I showed a cross stitch I had actually finished 2 years prior and had never like finished hanging it in the hoop, because I was like, yeah, I'm totally gonna make that hoop look so pretty. It's gonna be great. And then I didn't. And then I realized I actually gave away all of my craft materials that I would have used to decorate the hoop, decorate the whole thing. And so I was just like, F it. I'm gonna glue it to the inside of the hoop, I'm gonna cut the fabric, and I'm gonna be done. And that's what I did. Da-da-da-da! So this is something I made 6 years ago? When did I go to Italy? When did I go to Italy? I went to Italy 2012, 2013. What is time anymore? Okay, it's 2020. I live in the future. Everything is robots. But yes, I started this the year I went to Italy. I don't even know if I finished it the year I went to Italy, because there's a lot going on in this, if you can tell. But I did this years and years and years ago, and then it just sat in my closet unfinished, didn't look at it, didn't think about it. And then when we moved to where we live now, I realized how long it had been sitting there, and I was like, oh, I should finish that. I should like actually cut the fabric. I thought I was gonna decorate the hoop, make it look really cute and Pinteresty. Spoiler alert, no I did not. But it's done, and that's what matters. I did it. I completely finished it, and now I can put it up back there probably with all the other crap. Marie Kondo did not have the effect I thought she was going to have on my life. I did a Christmas Eve cast on with Christmas sock yarn, which I don't do because Christmas is not my holiday. If you can't tell, Halloween is my holiday, clearly. And that's my personality, so it makes sense. But Tila's been a horrible influence and introduced some Christmas cheer into my life, like some kind of savage. So I made Christmas socks as a Christmas Eve cast on, and I felt cheery, good about it. It was 80 degrees at Christmas this year in Texas, so didn't wear them. But I did wear them after in January when it got cold. Da 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 da. I don't know why this Zelda like chest opening noise is my go-to noise for whenever something is done, but it is. So this is, and I actually wore these like yesterday, so they're super stretched out and gross, so you're welcome. This is Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Leading Men Fiber Arts. I picked it up at East Texas Fiber Fest. And then this is Ravelry Red by Malabrigo, and they're sock yarn. But look at this like micro striping. This is just a Hermione's everyday sock, basic standard sock. But look at the micro striping and how cute it is. So cute. I'm actually really glad I wasn't going to put a pattern on at first. I actually got all the way up to like here and then ripped it out. Because I decided, I was like, it's Christmas, I should have a pattern. And I started from the toe up, so I knew I would want to do something. Otherwise I was going to get bored real fast. But yeah, so it's just the Hermione's everyday sock. And I like how you can see the differentiation. The differentiation between the like plain flat knitting and the adding of the very, very basic pattern, but it really does make a difference. I hope you can see that, but I think they turned out super cute and they're real bright and I like them a lot actually. I wasn't sold on it while I was knitting them because, as I mentioned, Christmas is not my holiday. I worked retail for too many years to enjoy the spirit of Christmas. It just does things to my brain and I'm not about it. But that doesn't mean I can't enjoy knitting something Christmas related. And as I mentioned, Tila has ruined my life, so it's fine. Now, for my pièce de résistance. When I first did this podcast, I was so excited and Tila was still test knitting the sock for me. And so I was like on this like next level hype train for myself. And now I'm like, wow, it's so real. I'm an adult. But yes, so a little bit of backstory. My husband, while we were on the plane heading for Japan, I keep looking out in the corner. I apologize. It's so rude. I need to make eye contact. While we were on the plane to Japan, my husband had downloaded, because we're mega nerds, the Shonen Jump app, and he downloaded, I think, the first like 100 issues of Dr. Stone. It's about a time in the future where the world has become made of stone, basically. Something happened, some sort of incident, and everyone was petrified. And then they were all in stone for like 5,000 years or something ridiculous, or 3,500 years, something like that. And then one day, suddenly, the main character, Senku, wakes up. And he is a scientist, and he has perfect knowledge of all things to do with science, naturally. And he goes about trying to basically bring this world of stone that he woke up in back to the like modern age that he left behind with his understanding of science. He starts building light bulbs and starts building creating medicine and building, you know, buildings and ovens and stone. Like, it's just crazy. Glassware, like, and it's all of these little flowcharts that show you how to do it. And my husband, who is a scientist at his core, when I met him in college, he was majoring in neuroscience and minoring in ethics. So he's a massive nerd. He loved the manga. And so when the minute we got home, he sat me down, he goes, "You're gonna watch this show. You're gonna watch this show about this thing that I've been reading that I love." And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll do it. Sure. Why not? And then I watched it and I fell in love with it because it's just so satisfying, so satisfyingly nerdy for me to literally, it's like the parts of me that love knitting. It's like I love watching something go from being one thing to becoming this completely other, totally usable, different thing. Like, I love it. I love watching like fiber being spun, and I love watching sheep, like wool being carded and all these other things. And I love watching it become the final project, or like the final product. So for me, it scratches that deeply nerdy, like crunchy research itch inside of my brain that I have. Sorry, my nose itches. I would highly recommend it if you haven't read or watched it yet. But all of that to say, my husband is in love with the show, and he requested that I make something for him in the theme and colors of the main character. So this was my inspiration photo, if you can see. See his hair? You probably can't see his hair, but it goes from the really light, like the white, to like the light green to the dark green. And he has these cracks, actually. They're cracks on his face from where he was petrified in stone. And they're just like left over for forever. And everyone that was petrified in stone has one kind of somewhere on their body of like where they have this like leftover petrification crack. And so that inspired me, both in the color and the design, to create and design these socks. And they are called 10 billion% socks. And so as you can see, these are the pair I made for my husband. So it goes from the white of his hair to the very light green to a much darker green right over here. And this color is, I think it's just Natural by Malabrigo, I'm not sure. This color is, This color is Julep by Lolodidit. And this color is Mischief by Lazy Cat Yarn. And I will be releasing this pattern, and I have designed it. I have had it test knit. I'm very proud of myself. I've never done anything quite on this level, and my plan is to have it as a paid for pattern and then end up donating all of the funds to research. And actually, if I could do it in the next couple of weeks, probably a lot of the funds to, as I mentioned, Australia is on fire, and the rescue efforts and the kind of rebuilding efforts of Australia and their Red Cross or their firefighters, families, the animals, all the good stuff. So yes, this is a 72, and I actually have an issue with the 72 stitch pattern. So I won't be releasing the 72 stitch pattern at first. I'm going to write it up and release it second because it has kind of a math issue. So it ends up having one of these extra, I might be able to see it actually, I know. I'm trying to remember where it is. Oh no, it's right here. You end up having an extra one of these repeats of this pattern, of this triangle, which isn't a problem. You could also do a 3-stitch arrow instead. That's just a little busier. But I loved it so much I made a pair for myself based on Senku's father, who has a similar hairstyle, but his goes from white to light gray to black, I think. I've actually seen a couple of artist interpretations where it goes from like white to kind of a light grayish blue to like navy. So I think it goes white, light gray, black. I could be wrong. But that's how I made my socks. And so this is that same white color. And this is a light gray that I picked up from Lazy Cat, and a dark gray I picked up from Lazy Cat. And I think they're called like Into the Storm, and I don't know what the other one is called. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've made these. But this is the 64, and the 64 works perfectly with the pattern. So I will be releasing the 64 stitch pattern first. It's been test knit, and it turned out beautifully, if I say so myself. That was Tila's test knit. Sorry, I know you probably can't see it very well, but it's beautiful. All done in hedgehog fibers. This color is Dune. This color is Goblin. And it's just, they turned out stunningly. And it was so funny because I was telling her, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm getting that point. I really just need to format the pattern and then I can release it for sale, give a lot of money to charity. And she goes, cool, yeah, I'm gonna make a second pair too. She's like, I already want to cast on a second pair. The pattern's very memorizable, very easy. I designed this to be a beginner sock pattern. Tila is a beginner sock knitter. I had her test it for me specifically because I wanted a complete novice to be able to read through my pattern and understand it. That was my focus. So this is a true beginner with a little bit of pattern sock knit. And that's it. My camera is 1000% about to die on me. So I'm going to sign off, and hopefully if I can get my life together, I will see you in the next couple of weeks. But yes, be on the lookout for 10 billion% socks coming to Ravelry soon. Bye!